And now to our second major story. The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, says the death toll from a landslide that swept over a fishing village on the banks of a lake in the northeast of the country has reached nearly 150. The landslide occurred last Wednesday in the village of Tora on the banks of Lake Albert, when part of a mountain engulfed a fishing camp. After heavy rains, many are now calling for a relocation of the people living around the rugged area. According to local authorities, there were 70 houses that housed indigenous people and some merchants who came to stock up on fish. All these houses and their occupants were swallowed up by the large stones. Deputy Governor of the Ituri Province, Pacific Keita, said authorities have decided to suspend the search for bodies to prioritize the disinfection of the area which borders Uganda, a measure designed to prevent the spreading of possible diseases to nearby fishing villages.
Fishing is one of the main economic activities in Ituri, the border region of Uganda. The Tara fishing village was located at the foot of the Blue Mountains on the edge of Lake Albert, and the people who were there were sheltered in a quarantine of makeshift homes when they were surprised by the landslide. The DRC has experienced in the past other deadly landslides. In May 2010, for example, a landslide swept over the eastern Congo village of Kibiriga and killed 19 people. Bodies of 27 others were never recovered, and in February 2002, about 50 people were found dead after a wave of mud and rocks hit the eastern town of Uvira, submerging about 150 homes. We head to the east of the DRC, where we are joined on phone by Gael Mpoyo. Authorities have stopped the search and rescue operations for bodies or probable survivors 4 days after the landslide. How has this decision been received by the people? The decision has not at all pleased the part of the population, but this decision was taken in agreement with the local civil society to stop the search, because having felt that the situation was worsening by the digging, and given that we are in the rainy season, the situation can still create huge damage. And what is being done to support the survivors, Gael? The humanitarian situation is of concern in the village of Tara in Ituri on the banks of Lake Albert. A first budget was released by the Ituri provincial government last Saturday to help survivors, but quite insignificant according to the civil society. The provincial government and the humanitarians are seeking to mobilize the resources needed for the assistance of the survivors, predominantly children. They need more housing and medicine, hence the expected contribution and from the national government, but also the provincial government also dreads epidemics following the many bodies that are still buried underground. Gael, this is the third consecutive year that this part of the shores of Lake Albert is witnessing such a tragic landslide. Why do the authorities in the Ituri province let the fishermen occupy these areas? Once this area was considered a beach, the authorities also are surprised to see several fishermen occupying this part of the area on the shores of Lake Albert. Several people have called for the relocation of all the occupants of this fishing camp located at the foot of the Blue Mountains on Lake Albert to prevent possible incidents of this genre in future. Last year, another similar case had caused the same damage to the port of Mahagi, but the local authorities did not take any measures to prevent these kinds of situations. This was condemned by the coordinator of the local NGO Coalition for the Protection and Defense of Human Rights, Faustin Atilenge.
Many thanks to you, Gael Mpoyo, African News correspondent in Bukavu, DR Congo. Thank you.